Alright, we are back, fresh out of the tumbler. The last final step, polishing, the final polishing. And we will start with the amethyst, the specimen part of amethyst. Say that because this is not gem quality to me. This is something you would use as your personal whatever. Have it wherever in your room, your house. It doesn't belong in jewelry unless it's a particular request, personal request. Get the lighting right on these. We have a lot of fractures with this batch, and I wasn't quite prepared. I just got some pellets that provide cushion for tumbling so they're not crashing against each other during the process. So that's one reason. These are specimens which can be appreciated just as well. Amethyst is a very famous stone to a lot of people, especially if it's your birthstone. Now, I'm particularly happy with this batch because I actually have gem quality amethyst that can be used for anything, literally. Medallions, rings, bracelets, etc. And we can move on to that, which is right here. We have a lot of pendulums. As you can see, the shine is actually there on these. That's another thing that is very common in tumbling is not every stone actually gets polished at the last step of the process. You periodically check these and you have to separate the ones with fractures, cracks, the ones that have gotten too small to finish, and any other flaws that come along in the midst of the process. You would want to separate those that need be, or you will not have a successful batch. Now, some of these have a lot of banding. I like the banding on some of these pendulums, these crystal points, like this one. Now, let's take the extra light off of it so we can actually see what's going on with this one. Color variation is nice. Oh, look at that. Some nice banding going on with this. See, this is what I would call gem quality. There's not a lot of flaws. Now, some of these can stand to go back in the tumbler on this side of the line. Look at that. Now, this is a prime example. I'll get better with this lighting. I'll apologize for the poor lighting, but Look at that. That is beautiful. Few fractures, but amethyst is it's a solid stone. It's harder than some. It's durable. And it takes a lot for certain cracks and fractures to happen with this particular crystal. It's very durable. It's got that shine going on with it. All of them on this line do. Now, some can use a little more work. I'm not done checking them out thoroughly. I wanted to show y'all fresh out of the tumbler. They ain't even all the way thoroughly rinsed. As you can see, if you're familiar with tumbling, the cracks and crevices, the grit gets caught in that. So you have to do a varnish cycle, soap and water, to clean them all the way up. And particularly, some people keep them wet. They do not let them dry until they're completely done processing. So I got my own way of doing things, and we will get it right one way or another. Now, let's move on to the sodalite. Now, this is follow-up video, you guys, for anybody who's seen, or for anyone tuning in just now with just this video. You can go back and look at earlier videos where I showed the rough and the raw of these stones, and you'll be able to see the progress in them. Sodalite, this particular stone is very difficult to shine up. It takes longer than others, and obviously it is not near done. Blue and white stone. There's some more light. Blue and white stone. White veins, looks like blue and white marble. This is a very soft stone. It's softer than a amethyst. This is the only one that did kind of good. It's the only shiny one. But this stone will grind down. Typically, if it's not in the tumbler with, other crystals and stones with the same softness, then it would grind down quicker than others. I had a lot of this stuff, and I had to pull it in the course of this month. I had to keep separating some, taking some out because they were getting too small, cracking up, fracturing. Once you get to the polishing stages of tumbling, you don't want any jagged edge rocks in the tumbler. They will scratch and ruin the polish. So, yeah, but let's see what it looks like if it was actually complete. Just to give you a difference. Just to give a reference of when it's actually completed. This is what you want to see with a successful batch of sodalite. You want that showroom shine. different variations of the veining. It's nice. But we'll get it together. It will soon be ready for purchase. Unless you like your stones raw, rough, I don't mind selling or even doing jewelry if that's how you prefer. Everything don't have to be polished, you know. If you are into crystals and stones, then you can appreciate it however it comes. There's nothing wrong with a preference though at all. So, however you want it. I got it. Let's get on to the agate. We have crazy lace. The agates did the best in this particular batch. As you can see that they are fully complete. There's no need for nothing but a varnish, you know, soap and water. Well, let's get some detail on some of these. Let's get some detail. Crazy lace. Now, this was shown in earlier videos. You know, we got tiger's eye too. Just a few of them in this batch. Once again, sometimes you just have to keep pulling, separating for whatever reason, whatever issue you're having with certain stones, you have to keep pulling them. But this is common, and this is why the varnish cycle is necessary. The grit gets caught in, I mean, if you have pits, if you have craters in your stones, you know, this extra white dust or powdery looking stuff gets caught in it. So you have to get a good rinse going on. You fill up the tumbler with just soap and water for a few hours and it gets it out of there. And most people who have been doing this for a while don't even let the stones dry out without taking care of something like that first. I just got my own way of doing things, because one way or another, we will get it together. Now, let's check this out. Agate. We got Mexican agate here too. Now, crazy lace. That's what I want to get to. Let's get in the detail of things. Apologize for this lighting. These videos will get better. I welcome all comments of whatever these videos lack to you individually. Let me know what's going on. There's some bubbly right here. It's something that obviously takes years and years and years to do this. See, I would put this back in like step 2 just to get rid of all that grain that is still rough. This will ruin a polished stage by itself. Some of the stones will be affected by that. Now, okay, I've been having this one for years and just decided to polish it up. A lot of fractures in it, but it's a tough stone. It's durable. Crazy lace. Check out the bands, and this is why it's got the name Crazy Lace. Because the bands are not just wrapping around the stone, they go in all type of ways. Let's get in on it. lot of red, and I see right there this one. This one right here is another good example of crazy lace. See how they kind of... Here we go. Alright. This. All on the edge here. All right here. It's crazy laced. It's not, just the typical banding of what stones usually do. It's crazy. Yeah. Beautiful stones. I love agate. You'll see videos of me cutting this up, slabbing, shaping them up however I see fit. Stones are available without, being made into jewelry, whatever a person prefers. I can do it. I will do it. This, it's not agate. Still researching this actually, and actually I just forgot what this stone is, what it's called. If anybody knows, let us all know. Alright, moving on. Some what they would call milk agate, which I think this is the best one in this whole particular batch. There's not one flaw, and all this white stuff is actually the stone itself. This is not grit caught in it or anything. I can price it right now, or start doing something with it, but it's kind of big. Some videos you would see me, it would be quarters on the spread, just so everyone has a distinguishing, you can kind of tell how big or small they are in comparison to one another. But it's kind of big for jewelry. I would just sell this piece as is. It's too big to put on anything. A man's medallion. I like big chains. All my jewelry, 98% of it is real big, heavy, and not even, I know a lot of men, they wouldn't wear my jewelry. If you've seen, any of my personal collection, some people are just, some men like small, simple things as well. Me, myself, I prefer different. Moving on, we have chalcedony. I got this from a very special friend years ago, and just decided to polish it up. It did real nice. Took a while. But it did great. You're close. It's even got banding in it too. This thing has quartz, agate in it. This tip, that's quartz. The agate is the blue part. And the blue goes through the entire, it's even on the grain. In the grain. This is my biggest piece right here. Now, I actually had some of this made in jewelry. I unwrapped it just to polish it up. And you can really see the bands right here. I can back this up a little bit or get close. My flash is kind of ruining the effect, but let's see if it will adjust for us. Yeah. it can use more polish. I'm not happy with all of it, but I'm not disappointed either. With me being kind of new to this, it's really no complaints. Oops. No complaints at all. Some of these are Riverstones. We got some agate back here. I've been having some of this stuff I've just had for so long. So many years. It's really doing nice, but the crevices, the pits, the surface veins, there's a lot of polish, grit caught up in here. This is something I would throw in a varnish cycle to get all that white out of there. It's not natural. That's the polished grit in there. But it's a very, very nice stone. It did really well. But again, it's been through more than the average, the basic cycles. It's been, because it's so big, I had to keep smoothing it out before I even thought about putting it in the polishing stages. Some you just gotta keep sending back to the first two stages. Part one, step one or step two. This is a cube. This is agatized jasper. I found this. A lot of these I've hunted for. But in this business, a lot of stuff has to be bought, ordered, to appease the customer that's in need or want. This is a good example of banding stones. It's a very old one too, and this one I actually found on my old property. Along with some of these others. This one, a lot of these boulders. This cube was found. I have an 80-year-old rock pile that when I was 3, 4, or 5 years old, it stood taller than me now, and I've been working it down so much. This is one out of my personal boulder pile that didn't do too well. It's got a little shine, but it still has some rough edges. Let's back it up a little bit and get a look at some of these. In later videos, I will be explaining more of the tumbling for anyone interested in the art of it and in the skill. I'm still learning myself, but I know enough to let y'all know. So, you'll see me working with a towel, wet saw, because I like to cut my own stones. Now, this business is providing the services to the public as well, but I am polishing my own crystals, rocks, stones, whatever. I'm shaping them. This is a form of pyrite right here, and this a lot of grit in it, but this actually used to be a medallion of one of my chains that I wanted to polish it up. It's not quite finished, but it's gonna turn out nice. You can't see all the gold in it because of the grit. It's just, it's something that if you're thinking about getting into or wanting to get into, people that are into this stuff don't need patience. I would tell people that is just curious about it and want to try it out. You must have patience, because none of this stuff is overnight. Just tumbling alone takes at least a month for every batch you do. Every batch takes at least a month for it to get this gloss, this shine. It has to go through 4 steps. Each step takes 5 days to a week. I would say just let it tumble for a week and find something else to do until then, you know? And I mean, it only gets better. The longer you let this stuff tumble, in whatever step it's in, it just gets better and better and better. So, yep. But I welcome any comments, any questions. It's just as far as any pricing or anything like that, I don't do on posts. Your business is your business. Message me for your personal, whatever, your personal inquiries, if you will. And we can talk about it. Adventuring, the Screenstone. I know this is a long video, and, that's just how I do things from time to time. If you're interested, you're interested. If you're not, you're not, That's the way I see it, so. Feel free to back on out if you get bored. And life goes on. I'm just being honest. But much love to everybody. I mean, thanks for even tuning in for 5 seconds, if that's all it was. Much obliged. Now I'm going to show the rough on different videos of a new batch. Sometimes I set a batch aside just to start a new one. Getting into this geology, it's not perfect. It's not going to go. Don't make plans. Just see your success through the darkness, and find, when you get to that other side, what you put into this is what you get out of it. Nothing is to be rushed. And until then, kings and queens, thanks for even taking interest. Holla back.